Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be talking about white belts and how to get a little bit better, quicker. A white belt is a really weird, fun ride. You find yourself almost like a kid in a candy shop, and you're figuring out so much different things. You're lost quite a bit. You're in love with the sport. You might be training a lot. You might be putting in a lot of time simply because the sport is new and you're in a honeymoon period. Which is beautiful. It's a really exciting time. You have a lot of questions. You're not necessarily deterred by all the failure that you're going to encounter, which is going to be your lot in life for a bit. Some things that I think can maybe hasten or quicken that moment or that phase where things just don't make any sense. One of the things I think will set you apart from other students is understanding that you only have to get really good at like 2 to 3, maybe 4 techniques. You do not have to be a master of 20. You do not have to be a master of all the escapes and all the submissions and all the passes. You have to get really good at framing, moving your hips, and then building your frame back. If we can formulate it or at least pose it in a really simplified way, that's in essence what you're doing. You're going to be on your back a lot. You're going to be trying to escape from really bad positions quite a bit. If we can simplify it and not look at it as, oh, this is a side control escape, this is a mount escape, this is a north-south escape, this is a half guard escape to maybe full guard and whatnot. If we can look at it more like everything is encompassed in the same thing. I'm in a bad position. I need to frame. I need to move my hips to create space. I need to reconstitute the guard by putting my legs back in play in some form that can hold off the weight and the pressure. I've escaped. I've reguarded, whatever that guard might look like. Now I'm in a better position. That is in essence every escape that you're ever going to do. There's just variations of it. And if you can frame it into more simplified terms, you don't have to think about a bunch of shit. If you can look at it as what is the one submission that speaks to me most, whether that be Kimura, armbar, triangle, whatever it might be, rear naked choke, simplify it so you can get really good at attacking that one thing. I remember I was a white belt and a guy I used to train with, Mike Esdeka. He was A1 with arm bars, probably triangles too, but for some reason I remember arm bars. He can hit those things everywhere. He was deadly. That's kind of what I'm hinting at. Find that submission that speaks to you most above everything else, and then find ways to amplify your game to get to the positions that would allow you to do those subs. You do not have to learn 8 to 10 subs. Your job is to learn 1 to 2 that you really like and then funnel everything into that. Once you can start to simplify a lot of the things you're looking at, the rest of the sandbox that you're in doesn't look as daunting because, oh, I can get good at these couple of things. I could become a problem. I could start bothering people a bit more. It changes the pace of what you're doing because then you have something to hold on to. Position above submission. I know we say that quite a bit. It's genuinely the best approach. Some people throw up submissions all the time. They throw up submissions wildly. They catch you in something, they transition to something else, and so on and so on. That's great. If you have that kind of a game, that's great. What you're looking for early is to funnel everything into a kill point or a kill zone where you could then have the deck stacked in your favor. So if, for example, let's say I like triangles, a great spot to get a triangle is a close guard. So if I can manage that all my escapes allow me to get back to close guard, where now I have control of their waist, they have to pass my legs to pass, they have to posture up, they have to stand potentially. It creates a stacking of the deck that's so far in my favor that even as a white belt, if I understand the position well enough, I can become a threat. If, let's say, my game is rear naked chokes, my game or everything that I do offensively needs to be geared into taking the back. Maybe I get really good at 2-on-1s. 2-on-1s are some of my favorite techniques because they open up the back so easily. Sometimes they open up sweeps that maybe don't give me the back right away, but they give me the back in a move or two. Anything you're trying to get good at, find ways to strategically funnel it to the positions that are most essential, beneficial to you. It's going to change from one person to the next. Temperament, odd size, age, all these other things factor into it. But just understand the game where the position is so much more important than everything else. I don't want to just throw up submissions randomly. I want to get to positions that I am really solid at, that I feel most comfortable, that I can call like home base. For some people, that's side control. For some people, I have a guy who's north-south is something else. I have a woman who likes turtle safely, like defensively. I have a guy who knows how to throw up darces quite a bit. So he loves when you get underhooks, and he's advanced enough that he can almost bait you with an underhook. You think you're safe, and he starts latching on and attacking your neck. So these are all things where they've found positions that they find safety in. And again, it's going to be different for all of us. And then from those positions of safety and comfort and knowledge and confidence is where the game starts to open up submission-wise. I like dominating you from top of half, side control, mount, and the back. When I'm on top, I like to crush you with weight, make you tired. I like having you think that you can escape and then re-solidifying the guard pass. Like I might have side control. I allow you to think that you can start escaping. I might open something up for you, only to bring you right back into the same position and then crush you a little bit more. I'm weakening the gas tank. That's my position over submission. Sometimes I can get the submission just with the weight and pressure on occasion. But what I'm really looking to do is make you make a huge mistake from that spot that then gives me what I actually want. Let me backtrack. Your number one goal above everything else is to keep yourself safe so you can keep training. Number one goal. It is not to submit people. It is not to sweep people. It is not to dominate positions. All that stuff is secondary to you being on the mats. Be safe, tap when you need to, and that goes for those moments where you're in a weird, awkward position, or maybe you're stacked on your neck and you don't like where it's going, tap. Maybe you're in a weird position and your partner has your arm like bent behind you and you're laying on it and it feels weird, tap. There's absolutely no reason to put your pride in the way and then toughen something out that leads into an injury. So I want to see people tap when they're in bad positions. There's sometimes when I'm a coach and I see something going on and I'm like, I wish you would tap. Sometimes I get involved. If it's someone who's inexperienced and I see that they're in a really bad situation and it can lead to an injury, I'll stop it. People who are a bit more advanced, I'm trusting that they know their bodies a bit more and they understand the position a bit more, and what they're actually feeling may be different than what I'm seeing. But if you can tap regularly, and it doesn't mean you tap for the sake of tapping, like just because you're in a slightly uncomfortable position, understand the difference between uncomfortable and what might lead to a serious injury or even a minor injury. Your goal, number one, is to get on the mats, stay on the mats for as long as you can physically get there. Sometimes that's going to require you to tap 4 or 5 times in a round. Keep your ego away from it. Every tap just means it's a reset. It's not a knock on you. You are a white belt. You're going to tap quite often. Just understand that it's a reset. It's not a mark against you. It doesn't make me think you're any less of you. It's not a ding against your manhood or whatever it might be, or your ego. It just means I got, and I'm accepting that I got, if you will. ask better questions. And I've talked this a few times. It should never, your question should never be, how do I beat X? How do I beat such and such? That's not a great question to ask because it's so open-ended and it can be interpreted so many different ways. What it should be is, I keep getting caught in triangle from close guard. I don't actually know what's going on and I don't know what I'm doing. So then we can sit down and we can discuss, and we could even demonstrate how you're reacting while in the closed guard. And it's probably that your base is off or your posture is off. Maybe you're putting your hands in places you shouldn't put. Maybe you're putting your hand down in the middle, or maybe you're trying to open the guard in a certain way that leaves your hand isolated, whatever it might be. Those are much better questions because they're specific to a position, potentially a response, and then the thing that you're getting caught in. Don't ask questions about how do I beat Dave, how do I beat Mike? None of those things really matter. It needs to be specific to Bob puts me in half, and then he always sweeps me with X. And then now we can discuss, if Bob's there, we can bring him on the board, and we can actually like have him demonstrate what he's looking for against you specifically. Those are much better questions. I understand early on they're hard to get those questions because sometimes you don't even know what's going on. But if we can at least look at the position, we can maybe look at maybe your base is off, maybe your framing is off, maybe your weight isn't centered where it should be. There's a whole lot of things that we can work out. Ask good, solid questions. They don't have to be super detailed, but if you can narrow it down to what exactly it might be happening, we can help. Consistency. Show up regularly. And by regularly, I don't mean that you should come in 5-6 times a week. People who come in to the sport early, they fall in love with it, and they have this honeymoon period where they just want to go all the time. And if you're in your teens and 20s, it's probably doable. Even then, I don't recommend it. If you are 30s, 40s, 50s, I highly don't recommend it, depending on what your goals are. If you're a hobbyist and I use hobbyist loosely, just a term that gets you thrown out there. If you're a hobbyist and you have a full-time job, a spouse, kids, I don't recommend coming to the gym 5-6 times a week. Your consistency has to be consistent to your schedule and how it balances with the rest of your life. I will never tell a student to come in and train as much as possible and neglect their spouse, or kids, or work. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. If your spouse is unhappy with your training regimen, you're going to hear about it. And the likelihood of you quitting is probably kind of high. What I do want to see is, hey, I am coming in, let's say it's as low as 2 or 3. I'm coming in 2 times a week. I got sports with the kids. I need to cut out some time or carve out some time with the wife. I work 40, 50 hours a week. This is my schedule. Can you work with me? I can work with that. Definitely. As long as you're committed and you're consistent to those 2 times a week and you're doing the best you can while you're there. What becomes tricky is when people are coming 5 times a week, 3-4 weeks off, 2 times a week off, and then it's just sporadic. And sometimes that happens because of the job. I've had paramedics that are on wonky schedules and they just come and go however the schedule fits. And that to them is consistency. I've had people in the military that come in pretty regularly and then they're gone for months. Deployment. Consistency. It's no fault if they're on the job. It just is what it is. So whatever your goal is, or what that middle ground is between you and your families and the work, that we can work with. As instructors, we can work with 2-3 times a week. My average, my entire career has been 3 times a week. But I got the most out of it because I was consistent and I was intentional in how I approached my training. So if you can consider that, whatever it might be, communicated, but consistency is going to be a massive tool in this. So again, getting good at 2 to 3, maybe 4 techniques is your goal. You don't need to be great at everything else. Master the positions that you really like above a submission. The submission is secondary to the position. Tap early and tap often. Do not want to be tough and ego driven and I don't tap and I don't want to tap to this person or that person. If you're going to suffer an injury, please tap. If you're going to get, even if it's a minor injury, tap. Ask better questions that are specific to the technique or the position that you keep finding yourself in are incredibly useful for people like me who want to help you. And then be consistent. Whatever that term means for you, your family, work, and the kids, that's what we're going to work with. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please hit me up, dfm.2099 on Instagram and Threads. If you want to work with me, I do workshops, private lessons, seminars, whatever. We do some remote coaching. We can also do video analysis if you're into that. Highly recommend it, dfmcoaching.com. Any questions, please hit me up. Thank you for everything. Till next time.